just if you feel like you're slipping, we can set it straight down. Just tell me if you feel like you're gonna slip. And what we'll do is, just like last time, we'll pick it up until I'm beyond the table, and then straight out that way, and we'll set it in the grass. All right, let's just slowly go straight up. You good? You good?
Yeah.
All right, straight out. Yeah, sidestep it. Okay, go ahead with your end. Perfect. Thank you.
You're okay.
All right, I'm gonna clean it and then I'll come get you when I'm ready to flip it. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here today. If you're new to the channel, then you don't know that I have been working on a wooden boat for quite some time now, this little 14-foot wooden skiff, and I finally got it to the point where it's ready for some primer and some paint. So that's the plan for today. We are going to prime this boat. Now, I've never done this before, so I'm a little bit nervous. I really don't want to mess it up, but I have watched lots of YouTube videos, I've read some articles, and I've asked the professionals on my boat building forum, and I think I have a pretty good idea of what needs to happen. We're just going to jump right into it. Let me show you some of the stuff that we're going to be working with today. The primer that I'm going to be using is this System 3 Yacht primer. It's a two-part deal with a resin and a hardener here. I got lots of good reviews on this stuff. I've never primed a boat before, so I have nothing to compare it to really, but everyone said that this was great stuff to use. My plan is to put on 2 coats of this and possibly 3. I've actually got another kit just like this in case I run out, but I have a feeling that this is probably going to be enough. And before I start priming, I need to prepare the surface of the boat for the primer, which means I need to remove all of the dust, and then I need to hit it with a rag soaked in acetone to get all of the oils and grease and things like that off of the surface. And then, if I can find one, I'd like to hit it with a microfiber cloth to ensure that I got all of the dust off the surface. So right now, I'm going to take one of my shop towels here and soak it in some acetone here and just clean this thing off real quick, get it ready for the primer. Alright, I'm just going to take my shop rag here and give it a good soaking of this acetone. And now we're just going to wipe the boat down real well with it in order to get all the oils off. Alright, we got the thing cleaned off with just a wet rag and then with some acetone, so that should have removed all the dust and all the oils and stuff. So the next thing I want to do is I want to put some tape on the things that we don't want painted. And there's not a lot that I'm not going to paint right now, but let me show you some of the things I'm talking about. Like this. So one of the things that I don't want to paint is this bow eye. I want it to stay nice and shiny. And you can see that before I installed the bow eye, I actually primed underneath it already. So there's primer all the way underneath this thing. So it's good to go already. So I'm just going to wrap this around here in some of that blue tape so that I don't get it covered in paint. And then the other thing that I'm going to tape up right now are my push pole holders here. Y'all saw in one of my videos a couple weeks ago, I actually carved these things out of a piece of ash juniper. So I want them to stay just the natural wood grain look, so I'm going to tape up this one and then that one right there. Alright, so I managed to find a microfiber cloth in the kitchen. Probably shouldn't be using this one, but it's going to work really well for the boat, so I'm going to do it. I just want to wipe the boat down one more time with a microfiber to make sure that all the tiny little pieces of dust are off of it and don't end up in my primer. I'm going to do my best not to touch the boat at this point because the acetone removed all of the oils from my fingers and I don't want to put any more oil on it. So I'm going to do my best to keep this rag between the boat and my hand, give it one more good wipe down, and then we'll get the paint ready. Alright, the surface is looking good and clean. I hit it with wet rag, acetone, and a microfiber cloth, so I think we're good to go. It is time to start mixing up the primer and get the first coat on. The primer that I'm using is a two-part system. So we're going to be mixing 4 parts of this one to 1 part of this one. And I'm going to use this mixing cup here to mix them together in. Well, I know I shook this thing to death earlier, but I wanted to scrape the bottom of it with a mixing stick and make sure that there weren't any chunks on the bottom that weren't mixed up well. But it feels good. I think we're ready to go. Looks pretty good. And here's what I'm going to be applying the primer with. So I've got one of these foam rollers that everyone says great things about. And then I've just got a 2-inch synthetic paintbrush. And what I'm going to be using this for with the primer is to paint all the little grooves like this that I can't get with the roller. And again down here. So I'm going to start with the paintbrush and I'm going to paint all the things that I can't get with the roller, and then we'll fill in the gaps with the roller. So all of these spots that I couldn't get with the roller have now been done with the brush. So you can see here, I've got the skeg completely painted up here. All the way around on both sides this is painted. See that? Of course got this side painted all the way along the boat. And I painted around my bow eye right here. And I've noticed this is definitely going to take 2 coats, if not 3, because you can still see everything underneath the primer. You see how it gets real streaky? So definitely 2 coats, possibly 3. Oh, and I also did this down here. I painted all the way around here. This hole right here is for bailing water. It's a scupper hole. So if I take water over the boat, it'll quickly bail itself right here through this scupper hole. But I've got it painted all the way around here and up here as well. Another thing that I've noticed, this being my first boat, you know, every step is a major learning experience for me. Priming it, and I'm sure painting it, really highlights the flaws. So for example, you can see this little raised streak right here. I didn't even know that was there. You know, it blended in dang near perfectly until I hit it with a primer and it immediately showed up. So I may come back through here and try to sand stuff like that down. I don't know though. This, at the end of the day, this is a fishing boat, not a show boat. And I've been sanding on this thing for weeks now, trying to get it perfect. And I think it is what it is at this point. I'm ready to just paint it and start fishing out of it. So now I'm gonna take my roller and fill in all of the areas in here and finish completely painting or priming the boat. Alright, and there she is with a coat of primer on her. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's definitely going to need a second coat, if not a third. I think it looks pretty dang good. It went on really smoothly. It definitely highlighted all the areas that could have been faired a little more. It found all the little divots and dimples and low spots and rises, but this is my first boat, and it's all a learning experience, so next one will be better. But I am overall very happy with it. So it says on the back of the container that I need to let it dry for 2 hours before I apply a second coat. So now I'm just going to hang out, let this dry for 2 more hours, and then I'll hit it again, give it a second coat, and see if it needs a third. I'm thinking one more will do it. And then I got to figure out how long until I can sand it. You know, you want to, after you prime it, you want to hit it with a little bit of sandpaper. I bought some 220 grit sandpaper to just gently hit this with and knock off all the little high spots or where the paint builds up and kind of balls up. Knock all that off, make it nice and smooth for your top coat. I think it might be up to like 72 hours, so I might be waiting for a little while before I can sand it. But I can give this a second coat today and then do a little research tomorrow and see if I really have to wait 72 hours before I can sand this thing. So the next steps for this boat build will be hit it with some fine grained sandpaper to knock all the chunks off, and then hit it with the top coat. And then we'll flip the boat, prime, and paint the top side. And then I think she's just about ready for the inspection to get her registered and get the numbers on it. This sucker might be floating by the end of the month. Fingers crossed. If you're new to the channel and you like this video, then be sure to go check out my channel for the other boat build videos that I have. Well, thank you all so much for watching today's video. I really do appreciate it. Y'all have a great day, and I will see you next Tuesday.